Hi, I'm Jim Gary, and welcome to Penelope's Workshop. I'm continuing the work to replace the 7.4-liter Vortec engine from my 26-year-old Workhorse-based motorhome. In last week's video, I finally got the engine out of the motorhome, and now I'm showing you how I got the engine into my workshop over a gravel driveway, which wasn't easy, and then how I got it onto the engine stand and got a preliminary look at what caused the engine to seize up. Despite its age, the motorhome only had 22,000 miles on it, and I didn't expect this severe of a problem. And please be aware that I'm a biologist, not a professional mechanic. I'm showing you what I did, not what I think you should do. So please consult a professional before taking on work like this. And as always, I welcome any comments or suggestions you may have. If you found this video interesting, there are links to my other videos in the description below. And please like and subscribe. Now let's get on with the video. In the last video, I removed the old engine up through the doghouse to the interior of the motorhome and then moved it out the door and started its journey to the shop. So that's the first step away. So I've got it rigged up. I'm going to try to pull it over. So after that wheel fell off, it fell right down here, and that made that hole. Is I put a couple of pieces of wood here, and I got this under the dolly holding the motor and was able to lever it up to where the wheels were then level with there. And I got it over a little ways, and then it fell off again, so I just moved it over. This time I put a piece of wood down that would be fairly level with the plywood. And I pried it up, the dolly up again right here with this lever, and was able to get it back on this and then onto this. And then I was able to roll it or drag it with the truck a little further, but it's not going the right way. So here's what I want to do. I want to get it in the middle here, and then I'm going to pull it up this ramp to get it into the shop. Once I get it in the shop, I can pick it up with the crane and put it on the engine stand. So I've got the come along set up there. I've got my jack just sitting there as weight to hold the plywood so it matches better. So let's see what happens. So here's the setup. There's the motor. There's the come along. Goes to this rope that's connected up there to my lift. So I've got to shorten this rope here. So I don't know if you've noticed this, but I don't use straps very much. I like to use rope. There's a reason for that. I used to work in shipyards. I was apprenticed as a rigger and became a master rigger. Worked on sailing ships. So here's one of the tall ships I rigged. This is the Pilgrim. It was a replica of the Pilgrim from the book 2 years before the mast. Did that back in like '76. So what I did here is I tied the end of the rope. I made a loop using a bowline, and the bowline is a knot shaped like that. And it's a good knot because it's got an unlocking feature. No matter how tight it gets, you can loosen it really easily. So bowline to make the loop or the bite, and then pull the rope through it because I want the rope doubled, and I want it tight so I don't have to waste too much effort. And then I use something called a rolling hitch. So I bring this down, put this through, and then you take it on the outside there, and what will happen is this will cinch thing tight. And I usually go 3 of those wraps. And even with nylon rope, this is not nylon rope, but even with nylon rope, this usually holds. So there you go. So see, there's 3 rolls around. And then, depending, I'm just going to do this by pulling the bite through just to anchor it. So there's the 3 tightening things. This is just to finish it off. for sure. There. More all the way in. I bring the crane inside, set it up right here, pick the end motor up, and then mount it on this engine stand right here. Man, my shop was in total disarray. But I brought the crane back in. Well, I got the engine positioned in the center of the floor. I brought the crane in. I had to take it apart and put it back together because it's too heavy for me to move in and out of the shop by myself. But that didn't take too long, about a half an hour or so. So that's all ready. And I've got it extended as far out as it'll go. And I've got it hooked up to the engine already. And here's the engine stand. And here's all the parts that connect. And I've got the bolts that are going to bolt it into the engine right here sitting on top of the engine. Here's the back of the engine. The two bottom bolts and left and right side kind of middle bolts. That's what I'm going to do. It's going to take some finagling because these legs for the engine stand tend to conflict with the legs on the crane. But I've done it before. It worked out just fine, so we'll figure it out together. Double checking I've got all the nuts and bolts in correctly. Looks good. Roller. I really abused this thing and it held up pretty well. I'm surprised. So I think what I did last time is I ran it off to one side and angled the motor over this. But it's got to come up a good foot or so. Now you may recall when I was putting the chain in here, I couldn't connect this plate directly to the engine block because that would make the chain interfere with this some component. This is some component of the fuel rail. So what I did is on my lathe, I took a piece of 7/8 inch solid rod, drilled a 7/16 hole, and I ended up having to cut it off at about 1 3/8 inches. And so that's what this is right here. That's that standoff I made. And then I had to use a longer bolt, but that kept the chain clear of this area. So I'm looking at the engine from the side, and the engine stand, the plate is tilted at a slight angle to make so the motor tilts up a little bit. And I've got it level here, so I'm going to move the load leveler to get the same, try to get the same tilt. Anyway, if the engine tilted down, I've got to crank it up a few more inches. So I'm not actually going to wrench on it, but I definitely want to be able to make sure there it goes. So that's it. Screwing it by hand, but it's just easier with this on it. Okay, so we've done that side. Let's do the other side. It's barely long enough. I need 16 inches bolt to bolt on the back of this. There. This is going to do it. Okay, so that's going in. I had to cut these bolts off to make them the right length. I have to tighten these bolts up when I'm done as well. And as you can see, as it sits now, it's not going to work. So I'm going to try to lift the engine up because I've got to be able to get the bolt through here into that hole. I think the bottom ones can move a little bit. Yeah. There we are, perfect. This is working out really nicely. Okay, I gotta raise the engine a little bit more. A little bit more. There. So now she's going all the way in just fine. Everything's hand tight. Okay, so now I'm just going to come back and tighten these 4 bolts here and these bolts that connect it to the engine here. By the way, these are all grade 8 bolts. Now I want to tighten these 4. There. So it's well connected. So I'm going to let the crane off and hope everything works. I'm going to go ahead and take the hoist off. I won't be needing it for a long time. Lift this off. There it is. That's a really nice one. This is made by, it's called the Engine Leveler. It's got a B logo on it. It wasn't that expensive, but man, it was good. So I'm going to try to rotate the engine, take out this pin. Nothing much holds it in there, so got to be careful with that. And, oh yeah, it's going. Oh, that's really smooth. Hard to hold. And of course there goes all the loose nuts and bolts and last bit of the coolant. Coolant in there. So this is a 3rd cylinder from the front on what would be the left side of the engine, and as you can see the skirt's broken. But the main thing is, look at this connecting rod. It's like a pretzel. They're not supposed to be like that. Here's the adjacent one. See, it's a straight connecting rod here. And this connecting rod is bent really badly. And I'm looking around, it's the only bent connecting rod. So that's what happened. The connecting rod bent, and of course it was seized. And just for a reminder, these are the pieces I pulled out of the sump. So those are just parts of the engine skirt. That's kind of what I thought when I found them. So the problem was a bent connecting rod, which again was unexpected in a low mileage engine. In next week's video, we'll do a deep dive into the engine to find out what caused the connecting rod to bend. And thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Similar videos of mine are linked in the description below. Bye.